Wanted to see how that pause music was coming along. Now keep in mind, this is a movie tie-in video game for the Nintendo 64.
Today,
Not looking for anything too crazy. What do you think about this?
Going to give you my top 5. Big video game this period between up until childhood, up until probably I was about 20 odd, where I've played some video games, but never really got deep into them.
Hey!
Still don't go out and venture outside the video games that I played as a young tagger. It's just something that I've never really got around. So the GTAs, Call of Duties, all of that won't feature on this list. It'll just be strictly from like the 90s through to early mid 2000s. And so there won't be some big heavy hitters on here. Some you may recognise, but I reckon a couple you'll be like, oof. All right, let's get into it. So number 5, I've gone for 2 here because I couldn't split them. Go through first one, Banjo-Kazooie. Played this as a young tacker. Nintendo 64 was my main vessel. It was a great moment. Got it for Christmas. And then my old TV wouldn't work, so Mum and Dad went out and put a interest-free on Harvey Norman for me to get me a TV, which was huge back in the day because, you know, we're scrounging for every dollar. Didn't have much money, so for them to do that meant the world to me, really. And Banjo-Kazooie was part of that, and playing that through my childhood, like the levels, the goals, you know, Gruntilda as your villain wasn't exactly a hard villain, but you know, you're like, and you're working to save the sister. But the thing is, it just captured me as a kid. It was one of those things that I spent hours playing, and a few people would probably go, "Oh, really?" But yeah, these lists aren't about the best of the best because there's far better video games out there, let's be honest. But it's just something for me. The levels were great. Click Clock Wood. That level with the 4 separate seasons was just something that it'd just get annoying sometimes, but it was challenging and you had so many different things to do that it was really, really enjoyable and something that I liked. Just hours of fun. The other one at 5 is WrestleMania 2000. Now, this gets in here, not because it's the best wrestling game, because it ain't. Like the SmackDowns, the 2Ks, even on 64 WF No Mercy was far better. But I remember this because me and my friends spent hours playing this, just hours, and we had our own characters, and there was a group of us, and we all lived around each other within like 500-600 meters. So we had our characters on each other's game and memory cards, and just go around and session it at the house, and you know, like hours of fun. And then you go on your solo missions. You create your own character, which appealed, and you could build it up. And the fact you got to choose your intro video and your music, well, yeah, you know, it was revolutionary at the time. As a kid, you're thinking, this is so good. How good is this? And then you look back and the blockheads on them, but you know, just fantastic at the time. I'd spent so much time on this. It was just one of those things where I would just delve into it for 3 or 4 hours straight. And when you're playing in the Royal Rumble, you've got to stick in there. You're trying to win it. There's a good hour by itself. So career mode, cop to shellac, and creating the characters, all of it. It was great and a big part of what really got me honed into being a wrestling fan. Number 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Now, 1 and 2 obviously are the absolute originals, and they've just resurfaced and been redone over, and the graphics upgraded. But those originals, you're searching for the secret tape, you're looking for the goals, trick points, just all those great things. You've got the great levels, my favourite being school, but you'd spend hours trying to perfect it and land and ollie and all them things, and I never was much of a skater at all, and quite envious of those guys. But once again, built your own character, it was yours, career mode, you're looking to finish it, it was a challenge. Like, find that secret tape sometimes was so hard, and there was no bloody tutorials to watch back then. The internet was very far from what it is today. No one was really recording anything and putting it out there. You might get the odd bit of info off IGN back in the day, but you had to chase it and figure it out for yourself, and you had to find it in your own map, and then once you found it, you had to figure out how to get it. So, one of the great games, and the biggest thing for me on it, yes, the game was great, but how good was the music? That music was the music of a generation, and then that game comes out, and that playlist still resonates with me today. A lot of that music is on my Spotify playlist and gets a fair dinkum run, let me tell you. Number 3, Super Mario franchise. You can bundle it whatever way you want. I know there's speed runs and all that now, and world records and that. But my favourite goes back to the Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64. Another one, spent countless hours on this, chasing all 120 stars, doing all levels. The music on it was fantastic. Everything was so good. It's not one. It wasn't one for the multiplayer, but it kept you entertained. It was challenging. Cool mountain with a little penguin. You throwing him off. There's little bits and pieces here and there, and once again, you weren't going to YouTube or the internet to figure out things. You were having to figure it out and discuss it with your mates, and if they had it, and work through things like that. Like, it was one of those things where you are working through it in real time for yourself, and I think that was part of the appeal to me. You had to be in the room with someone to discuss it and try and work through it. So unless you were lucky enough to be playing it with a computer in your room and you're on bloody MSN Messenger back in the day. So there's showing me age, but another great game. Graphics, the trip to Bowser and killing Bowser at the time seemed so profound and hard, but now you look back on it, it's not at all. It's not that challenging, but as a kid it was. So another great game for me, and it makes it number 3, and you could take your pick on whatever one you want. And just a little side note, I remember growing up, and I don't know if anyone else had them, but me and my cousins used to chase the stickers. Used to be able to buy little sticker packs. When you stay at my Aunt Jules, you'd go down to the milk store, and this is back when you could get hire videos, VHS, not DVDs, and you were buying the sticker packs and you were putting them in our book and we were trading. So that was part of the appeal as well. So that helped me with my journey to enjoy the Super Mario video games as well. And then you've got the old school movie that's one of those timeless classics, but that's for another time. Number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. Doesn't matter what way you cut it, this is one of the all-time great games, one of my favourites. Just everything about it. The levels can be challenging. Once again, speed runs nowadays with the old school games, but sometimes just soaking up that time and just exploring and the different up, down, especially the water levels. I don't know how many times. Sometimes I try. You drown, and he's blowing bubbles, and he's gasping for air. But just the little things like you used to leave him alone. And he'd start doing animation on his own. And then Tails was brought into it. Sega Mega Drive, Sonic was the go for me. Spent countless hours on that when I could as a youngster, a lot more active, probably a bit out of mind as well for me, but I still love delving back into that side of things every now and again. It's very, very rare for me. Got a lot more going on these days than to sit down and play some Sonic, but I remember the enjoyment. It's one of the great, and the movies now are doing it a bit of justice as well, and I've watched them as well. So it's all out there now, and it's a bigger franchise than what it was. But back in the day, it was pretty huge as well, and more so word of mouth, and probably less noticeable because you didn't have that big internet connection piece. But yeah, definitely one of the greats. Number one on this list, and by far and easily, now it's a big call, but easily my number one is GoldenEye, Nintendo 64. It is one of the great games of all time, and I'm including today's games in Grand Theft Auto. Back in the day, I don't know how many times I'd just pick up my game and go to my mates, or I'd just unplug my controller, take my own controller around, and we would just session that on multiplayer. Hard right to get to Odd Job as quick as possible, but in all fairness, if you wanted a fair game, no one could beat him. The old Complex used to be a great map. But, just so many good memories, a lot of tantrums, a lot of most kills, a lot of golden gun. The golden gun, one hit done, that's the best. You throw in the old proximity mines and mines every now and again. That was a great time. And that's just the multiplayer. Now, that's with your mates in the room, session, and this can go on for hours. You might chuck a odd game in there to break things up, and then you're back at it. It was the best multiplayer game for me. And then, once all that's done, you've still got your single player mode. You're going through to 00 Agent and chasing all them goals, run times. You're trying to get your invisibility, invincibility. And back in the day, you were like, there's no way that can be done. And then someone does a bit of research. And back in our day, you had to research hard, and you were looking on IGNs. There was no going for walkthroughs and that. The best you got was a couple of pictures here and there, where to be, how to rush, and then the description. So, it's just chasing after them cheat codes was hours and hours of fun, let alone getting through every level, every agent level, and then getting to Aztec, then getting to Egyptian, all them things. It just meant the game was so much more than your average game. It had so much more to give. So that's my top 5. As I said, I'm not much of a gamer. They hold special memories for me, but just that period of time, that's my childhood encapsulated outside of sport when I couldn't play due to an injury and that sort of stuff. But not a massive gamer. I don't blame you if you don't find the list at the top echelon, but like I said, these lists are for me and my favourites. Not what's best, not what's the greatest of all time, just what means something to me and my favourites. Shoot us a message below if you've got any other games that you think of, especially that era of the Mega Drive, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2. Hit us up below. Let us know what you reckon, and look forward to catching you next time. Cheers.